Have you ever wondered what the real difference is between a story you read in a book and one you see performed live? What takes words on a page and turns them into action on a stage? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the art of drama to figure out what exactly makes a story a play. So, yeah, what are those special ingredients? What transforms a regular story into a living, breathing performance? Let's dive right into the fundamentals. And here it is, the core definition. At its heart, drama is simply literature that is written with one specific goal in mind: to be performed. It's not meant to just hang out on a bookshelf. It's designed to be brought to life by actors on a stage right in front of an audience. That performance part, that's the absolute key. Okay, so to make that performance actually happen, a playwright, that's the person who writes the play, uses a very specific set of tools. Let's break down these essential building blocks that you'll find in pretty much every play. First up, the most obvious one, dialogue. This is literally what the characters say to each other, but it's so much more than just talk. In a play, dialogue is the engine that drives the whole story forward. It reveals who the characters are, what they want, and what's happening. But just as important as what's said is what's not said. That's where stage directions come in. Think of these as the secret code from the writer to the actors and director. They're the instructions for all the action, the sounds, the emotions, the whole vibe of the scene. They're usually in parentheses and italics, so they're easy to spot. Now you can't just have one long, continuous story. Plays are broken up into acts and scenes. And these aren't random breaks for a snack. They're super important for controlling the pace of the story, showing a jump in time or a change in location. It's how you build suspense. And before the action even starts, usually on the very first page, you'll find the cast of characters. This is basically your program, the who's who of the play. It lists everyone you're about to meet, so you know all the players from the get-go. All right, you've got the basics down. So how about a quick game to see if you can spot these elements in the wild? I'm going to show you a few examples, and you try to match them to the right term. You ready? Here we go. Take a look. We've got an action in parentheses, a panicked line of speech, a list of names, and a change of location. Your job is to match these 4 examples with our 4 terms. Take a second to think about it. Okay, let's see how you did. First up, the dog barks and runs off stage. It's in parentheses, it's in italics, and it's describing an action. That, my friends, is a stage direction. Next one, I'll never make it in time. Well, it's in quotes, so you know someone is saying it out loud. That's a classic example of dialogue. How about Lizzie, Aunt Ruth, Museum Guide? It's a list of the people in the story, right? That's your cast of characters. And last but not least, setting changes from kitchen to forest. When you jump from one place to another like that, it's the perfect way to signal a brand new scene. Awesome job! So, knowing the parts is one thing, but seeing them all work together, that's where the magic really happens. Let's look at a tiny piece of a script to see how these elements combine to create an actual story. Okay, so our little play is called The Forgotten Lunch. Right at the top, we see our cast: Jordan, who's a middle schooler, Jordan's mom, and Miss Fields, the school secretary. We already know who we're dealing with. And we're into scene 1, which takes place at home. Now look at that very first stage direction. Jordan runs through the kitchen, backpack half zipped. See that? Before a single word is spoken, we already feel the chaos, the rush. We know something's up. And then, boom, the dialogue confirms it. Jordan yells, "I'm gonna miss the bus." Now, check out Mom's action. That one little word, sighs, tells us so much, doesn't it? You just know this isn't the first time this has happened. And of course, her line of dialogue makes it crystal clear. "You forgot your lunch again." It's a perfect little moment showing how stage directions and dialogue team up to tell a story really, really efficiently. So, we've seen how all these parts build a story on a stage. But now, I want us to zoom way, way out and think about a much bigger idea. The idea that maybe life itself is a kind of story. This actually connects to a powerful metaphor from the book of Hebrews. The line says, "Since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses," some interpret this to mean that we are all like actors on life's big stage, and there's an audience watching as we live out our stories. And this connection between faith and performance goes way back. The Bible itself is just packed with dramatic moments. Heroes, villains, conflict, resolution, you name it. That's why for centuries, churches have put on plays of these stories, because performing them makes the message feel so much more real and alive. So, if we run with this idea that we're all characters playing a role on a grand stage, what's the big takeaway here? What does that actually mean for how we go about our day? Well, it leads to two really important ideas. First, that our actions, our choices on this stage really matter, and they need to be guided by good values. Just being smart isn't enough. And second, if we see ourselves as part of a bigger, divinely written story, it can give us a real sense of peace and purpose. Every single day becomes a meaningful scene. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. You're on the stage of life. Today is your scene. The question is, what's your line going to be?